Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, or good morning, or good night, or good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. Sorry for the little delay at the start, I was just finishing off my dinner. Got back late from work today. Had to put pizza on, shove it down me. But now we're pretty much ready to go. I thought I'd just put the stream on just because I said I'd start at 8 GMT, or 20 GMT I guess technically, 24-hour time, and just so that a few people filter in. What I'm trying to do, I'm trying to turn this off, because we're now started. So, we've got the continuation of the Mayhem Addicts tournament. Unfortunately, the game that was meant to be played on Sunday was not a go-ahead, and also, for anyone that is not aware, the Unrestricted and Popeye team are actually going to be dropping out of the tournament, so unfortunately we won't be seeing them the rest of their series, and we're going to have something a little bit different done just to finish out the closing stages of this tournament. But in the meantime though, we've got the series that was played, I think it was about 14 GMT yesterday, so like basically in the middle of the day for me. I was at work at the time, so I couldn't cover it live, but that game, or series I should say, was between CooL and Genie, and they were against Saymyname and KT. And I know how Vertex has just gone live. I guess he's not hanging around for too long. Maybe he's going to have me on the second screen when he's streaming, I don't know. I know how many games were played, but I actually don't know the result of the series. Again, obviously no spoilers in the chat, please, for anyone that does know the result. And yeah, Bottle sent me the replay files already, so we can dive straight in. Just as a quick reminder, again, this tournament's 2v2 tournament. As I said, CooL Genie versus Saymyname KT. And there were random maps and random civs. The civ pool, no, not the civ pool. Well, civ pool is all the civs in the game, I guess, technically speaking. I was going to say the map pool is what I actually meant. Let me try and find it again in the handbook. So our map pool is Alliance, Citadel, Coastal, Highland, Hill Country, Inland, Inside Out, Mega Random Oasis, and Sahara. And those maps were chosen by the community. Sadly, there weren't many water maps in like majorly war maps. We've got coastal and we've got inland, which are both obviously can have quite a bit of water on. We don't see the likes of continental or what's the other one I'm trying to think of, Mediterranean, or one of my favourite maps, the Ocean Ring map. Unfortunately didn't make the cut, but it is what it is. We have the Mega Random map, which is always quite interesting to see how the players try and deal with that map. I don't know exactly. In fact, I could do a little bit of spoilers. Looks like sadly, Mega Random didn't get played today. But we've got some other maps to go through. So I guess without further ado, we may as well just jump straight into game one of the series. I'll mute the music now, and I'll jump us straight in. And looks like the first map was Alliance, and Alliance is always quite an interesting map for the team games, because you just, well, I guess for 1v1s as well, but on Alliance you pretty much guaranteed know where your opponent's going to spawn, because the map's basically mirrored in terms of the spawns, so you know exactly, yeah, like I said, more or less exactly where your opponent's going to be, which can make early rushes. Just let me, get myself onto the capture age view. Early rushes can be quite a lot more effective because you can get those forward barracks right in your opponent's face. I think I saw that because in previous series, KT and Cristiano Ronaldo is KT, by the way, for anyone that doesn't know. Excuse me, sorry. But yeah, they were previously playing the games in voice chat, and I think Wattle stepped in and stopped them from doing that because they were the only team that were like communicating on voice, which normally team games I would encourage that, Vertex scouting his coming enemy. Yep. Well, like I said, Vertex has gone live on Twitch. I don't know if he's actually still with us. Maybe he is. But yeah, let's have a look at the civilizations though. It looks like, excuse me, it's my pizza having a vengeance on me. Phoenicians for KT. No, sorry, for Saymyname. And Romans for KT. So two fairly decent early game civs. With their eco bonuses on the wood for both civs. Slightly different bonuses, but both get a bit of wood extra. And CooL coming forward as the Chosen already. Don't feel like I've seen much Chosen in this tournament so far. And then it's the Minoans for Genie. So a little bit of an unfortunate civ for Genie. Obviously, Minoan's much more of a water civ. Not much water on the Alliance map. But both players are going forward. Let's have a look. We've got the villager count still quite low, so I don't know if this is maybe trying to grab some elephant from the centre. CooL has some, seen one so far. Because yeah, they do get these 4 elephants spawning. Oh yeah, it looks like he is going to grab those. Genie, maybe a little bit off the mark. Normally the elephants do spawn very close to the centre of the map, excuse me. So Genie is a little bit wide of the mark there. And let's have a look at the map. So it's often the case that you do get quite a thick wood line in front of your base in this map, which does seem to be the case for CooL and Genie. So a lot of teams try to do like the two, like one player walls one side, the other player walls the other. It's a little bit wide on the flanks, but you can see it would be quite easy to just wall up the front of the base. On the flip side, KT's a little bit more open. Maybe you could try and use that gold as part of the wall there. But yeah, again, on the CooL side, pretty similar story actually, with the forward goal as well. So KT and Saymyname a little bit more open at the front of their base. Just having a little read of the chat there. But yeah, storage pit just going up for Genie. A little bit towards... Wait. Genie's like yoinked CooL's gazelle. Wait, I'm just going to pause real quick because I want to see if like anything was said in the chat about that. No. He's literally just yoinked. I wanted to check like the actual in-game spectator. But yeah, Genie just straight up yoinked the gazelle from CooL, which is a bit interesting. I don't know if he's given him the elephants as compensation, because that's one of Genie's elephants there that CooL's grabbed. I'm not exactly sure what that's about. That's CooL's elephant there, because you get 2 each, so that was one of CooL's and that's his other one. That's Genie's other one here. But we've got a villager coming forward, 3 villagers forward by Saymyname. And that artifact manages to avoid that. Or the villagers managed to avoid the artifact, I guess is what I was actually meant to say. But Barracks is going up at home for KT. But yeah, like I've said in the past, Saymyname does have a tendency to send 2 villagers forward. But I've not seen 3 as like the first wave. Sometimes he sends 2 and then like if they get a bit in trouble he might send a 3rd villager forward at that point. But yeah, Barracks going out a little bit ways off his opponent. I guess he just wants to try and get that down quickly. KT's the first to hit Tool Age. Something I forgot to actually mention is that KT and Genie both have a 10% handicap in this game. So that, all their resources and units and stuff go 10% faster. The resources get gathered 10% faster, units train 10% faster, etc. And this villager here from Genie, I think Genie's maybe just noticing now. I think this villager maybe, I was going to say maybe can get away, but I'm not so sure now. In fact, it looks like Genie still hasn't noticed. But we've got Axa just coming in for KT. In the meantime, Saymyname yoinking some berries, but it's gone for the quick stable. I think that is closed off, yep. So he's going to go for the scout rush, but CooL's already got the wall set up. And yeah, you can see Genie on this side. Still open on this wider flank that I said before, trying to go in for the archery range at home. And this barracks looks like it's kind of going to get shut down by KT here. So Saymyname pretty much untouched. And he's sending these scouts to try and flank around now. He's got caught. That's a little bit... I think they were building that archer range, but he's going to end up losing a couple of villagers more there is Genie. So and he's going to lose that bowman straight as well. I feel like Genie's one of the players that tends to forget some of the extra things you can do in RTI. You can just gather the bowman inside the archery range. Oh no, okay. I say that he's literally done it that time. Maybe he just realised his mistake. So I think he's got a little bit of HP on all the wall sections. He does. So he lost a couple of villagers there, but that did give him some enough time to close up the wall. So I guess you could argue maybe worth at the moment at the front though. The axes still kind of some poor trades. You can see the KD massively in favour of KT and Saymyname's team at the moment. Feels like Genie's kind of letting his units just go in one by one. Finally gets a bit more of a positive trade there. Still making some axes. But yeah, there's initial scouts from Saymyname. Still managing to get some value, despite the fact that they're sort of being locked out of the opposing base. Yeah, you can see this scout here has got a couple of kills, and there's 5 more kills there, 3 of them of which are villagers. Defensive towers have already been starting to be placed by KT. It's the Romans, actually, so that's quite a nice civ for KT. He does favour the tower civs. Obviously we know his favourite civ has been the Chosen in the past, which CooL has in this map. I don't know if CooL was going to go for any towers of his own. There's berries at the back. I think CooL's just pointing that out. But yeah, KT setting up the defences, going to clean out the forward. Saymyname picks up another couple of bowmen. So again, a little bit clumsy, perhaps, by Genie, losing quite a lot of his initial armies in this early tool age. And CooL's telling him to take those berries there. In fact, can I see the resources for a second to see how we're doing? Let's see if anyone's near the bronze. Looks like it's CooL, who's mostly been pretty much untouched. I don't think he may have lost a couple of units, but I didn't really notice. It's mostly been Genie that's been in the wars. Number 3 bowmen come forward. But yeah, it looks like CooL may be the first to be able to click to bronze. Oh, actually, I say that. Saymyname has already clicked to bronze, so it's actually going to be Saymyname that's first. Again, he wasn't touched at home. KT offering up some defensive towers for his ally there. They're kind of not really... They're kind of both in a little bit in the middle of nowhere. I guess if Saymyname ever builds some farms around his TC there, the towers will be slightly defending those. CooL's got a bunch of bowmen defending at the moment, and now has collected bronze. So it is the 2 Centurion level players are going to be in the Bronze Age first, despite the fact that KT and Genie have that 10% handicap. I think, curious that domestication's coming in. Actually, I was going to say, I thought Bronze Age was going to come faster then, but domestication will be in time for the bronze. So he can get wheeling straight after. It's a little bit weird that he's researching that now, given that he's basically placed most of his farms, and obviously domestication doesn't retroactively increase the food, it only applies to new farms. So it's usually better to get that a little bit later in the Bronze Age when your first farms are about to run out. Again, a little bit clumsy by Genie, sending a few units under that tower. Let's see, what is the plan from Saymyname? He's got Phoenicians, so he can basically go for anything. It looks like he is going for the Chariot Archer, though. Just trying to... Is it just these archery ranges forward are pumping out? Yeah. And maybe we'll see possibly a forward siege workshop at some point. How many... He's got a little bit of wood left. Obviously, Phoenicians faster gathering wood. So yeah, coming out in defense on this side. KT's now come forward, a little bit of a tool age army. He's up to bronze himself, literally about to ding up. And Genie going to be the last to get to the Bronze Age. The Minoans are a little bit stronger on land maps in RTR in the later games, as they now have the bonus of the 10% faster gathering farmers, which is a very nice bonus into the later stages of the game. But it looks like Saymyname is going to be in the driving seat, and Katie already switching into those Roman infantry, which have the faster attacking bonus. And yeah, starting to queue those up now, getting all the Bronze Age upgrades. CooL is adding in the cavalry units and hoping to get maybe a little bit of a wraparound here on some of the chariots before the numbers get too high. And no melee armor actually in for the chariot archers, so they are a little bit vulnerable to this attack. Nobility is also already in for CooL. So I think he's going to be able to do a decent amount of damage, given that he's not got a huge army. But all the players up to Bronze Age now. Presumably Genie's just going to start going into the... Yeah, he's already going for improved bowman. So into the composite bowman, which the Minoans obviously get the +1 range bonus on in the Bronze Age. Just a few tool units mostly getting cleared up for the time being. Interestingly, Saymyname never put down a siege workshop, and he's pulling the units back, it looks like. Okay, I saw some red, I was a little bit confused about what was going on there. Where's CooL's cavalry gone? I was thinking maybe... Oh, here we go. I was thinking there might be a little bit of a raid, but the yellow dots were blending in on the map there. So it's already getting a little bit tricky. 14 broadswords, bronze shield coming in. I think the Minoan composite bowmen should deal pretty nicely with these long swordsmen though. Obviously cavalry do have a damage bonus against infantry, but I think resource-wise, broadswordsmen can beat cavalry if you go for equal resources. But as the cavalry, you've got that nobility and mobility bonus, I should say. I guess nobility technically as well. So you can choose to when to take your fights. But yeah, good mass of chariot archers though for Saymyname. And CooL's cavalry kind of just spread out all over the place at the moment. But the composite bowman numbers are now starting to build, 15 of those. And I think, yeah, Saymyname is still missing that nobility upgrade for his chariots. So we could have those units be a little bit tankier. Let's have a look at the upgrades we've got actually. And yeah, a few players missing some upgrades. Katie has all the upgrades he needs for his infantry. But Genie missing artisanship for the +2 extra range. So he could have +3 range for 10 range total hit, which would actually allow him to outrange the chariot archers of Saymyname, which would be quite nice. But yeah, like I said, these raw swordsmen are gonna struggle a little bit into the composite bowman. Possibly Katie maybe would better to go for cavalry or even chariots himself, just to get that more mobile melee unit. I know obviously you have the big bonus for the Romans for the infantry. War's actually going to get denied by CooL. Is he going to try and go for a bit more of a raid here? And actually a couple of hoplites have been built by Genie, interestingly. Obviously that unit matches very well into the broadsword as well. I don't think you really need to do that. Like I said, I feel like the Minoan Composite Bowman is already a very good answer to the broadswords. KT just trying to establish some sort of forward position. Oh, he's got those sentry towers upgraded. Doesn't have the artisanship in for the +2 range, so it could have a little bit extra area covering that. Don't know what happened exactly to that cavalry raid, but it doesn't seem to... Oh no, they're in the back there. Getting attacked by a lion. A little bit trapped by the chariot archers now. Looks like CooL is going to just try and clear up these production buildings at the front of his base. I think better for Genie probably would have been just to get a siege workshop down and just try and get some catapults to start getting rid of these towers. CooL going for logistics, interesting. Well, I guess he is the chosen, so obviously he gets those higher HP. Ooh, that elephant just beating down a bowman there. But yeah, looks like CooL and Genie clubbing together now to try and push down this forward. But again, neither player committing to a siege workshop. It looks like KT is trying to get Stonethrower out himself. Stonethrower is a very nice unit against composite bowmen, just because they do tend to clump up together and they're very low HP. But yeah, players diving under the towers here. Going to be taking quite a bit of damage. See, this catapult can get a good hit in. Looks like Genie, I don't know if he was just kiting the swordsman, if he had noticed the catapult there. Either way, he did get himself nicely out of the way. Yeah, CooL switching into the swordsman himself. Again, that seems quite interesting to me, given how many chariot archers are out in the field. I feel like those swordsmen really struggle when there's a big mass of ranged units out on the field already. And Saymyname still doesn't have nobility. And Hoplight's just trying to tank some hits. Do the Minoans not get bronze shields? I was pretty sure, yeah, they do. They get all that. That's a hit from the catapult there. Genie needs to be careful. Notices a little bit at the last minute, loses another couple of bows there. But yeah, given up on the cavalry and just gone straight into the broadsword. Now, well, switched over to the broadsword now is CooL. So we got double broadsword on the field with range support from both teams. Longsword actually in. CooL is already the Iron Age. I completely missed that. So that maybe was why the transition started coming into play. I was focusing so much on the fight, I didn't see Iron Age come in. And chosen HP bonus getting much stronger as those larger infantry upgrades come in. Lost a lot of units there though. Chariot archer numbers chariot archer numbers is what I was trying to say. Ooh, a little raid at the top there. Down for, I think they were about 40-ish before, but still decent mass. And Ari and the players going up to Iron on the opposing side. Not seeing the glowing on the TC. Ooh, KT nearly let the cavalry in there. Let's go back to the fight here. Again though, neither Genie or CooL seems to have gone for any sort of siege. But yeah, long swordsman in now. +1 pierce armor. Yeah, these are very tanky boys now. And chariot archer damage of only 4 per shot. Yeah, they've been forced away. GG being called. Saymyname just taps out. Wow, okay. Interesting. I felt like that game had a little bit more life in it, but Saymyname decided to call it. And like I said, I think they would have cleared up this position, but what happened to... Yeah, KT's got no army left. How many resources? Oh, he's got plenty of resources though. Not exactly sure what happened there. Feels like... no, I want to try and read the chat and my autopilot back to the main menu. Yeah, like the game felt like it had a little bit more left to play. So I'm a little bit surprised that it finished where it did, but the game went to CooL and Genie. It looked like Saymyname had a very strong position in their Bronze Age there. Like I said, maybe KT possibly shouldn't have gone for the sword. Oh, I'm literally reading the chat now. KT said S&M wanted to go him to go cav. Yeah, I think it just like having the cavalry and the range support is just a tried and true combo in 2v2s. Infantry is always just a little bit more difficult to get set up in the play. I think if you can get to the Iron Age and then start pumping the long swords and legions at that point, then they can work, just because at that point they're actually quite a tough unit to deal with, just because they've got the HP pools very high and you can just spam them to the end of time. But I feel like the early bronze infantry is a little bit of a difficult play, just because there's so many units that can like quite easily shut it down. Let's have a look at, but yeah, CooL did boom a lot there. That is true. Yeah, like what I said there, I thought you went for swords because they're good for Romans. Like, obviously they have the bonus, but then it's like, if your opponent already has good answers to those swordsmen, then you kind of have to play around that a little bit. But anyway, let's get ourselves into game 2. So CooL and Genie take the early lead. Like I said, it looked like they were a little bit on the back foot just because Genie lost a lot of units for free in the early game of that last game there. Hang on. My computer didn't like that. There we go. I think we're in now. I can give one. Apparently it's Genie's team. And we've got Citadels as our second map here. Genie complaining about a little bit of lag. Hopefully that didn't affect the game too much. And so yeah, Genie on the Sumerians, who are a little bit of a slower civ, but Citadels is a little bit of a slower map, although I still don't think Sumerians is honestly that great of Citadel civ, but we'll see what he can do there. And then Greeks for CooL. Greeks are a very powerful Citadel civ. Obviously, got a fairly weak early game, as they don't really get many bonuses there. But once you get to that Bronze Age, you can start spamming the Hoplite. A very strong unit in the Bronze Age for the Greeks. Saymyname is on the Carthaginians, who, again, not the best Citadel civ, but like in 1v1s they can try and play a bit more aggressively, maybe try to go for a Tool Age rush. But in 2v2s that can be a little bit harder to pull off. Obviously in the later phases of the game they still have some quite powerful units. But Citadels tends to be the Chariot Archer, good Chariot Archer civs tend to dominate a lot on Citadels, like the Egyptians and Hittites. But anyway, to finish off, we have the Minoans again, but this time for KT. And so slightly better map for the Minoans, I guess, just because you have, again, you're a little bit of a slower civ on the land maps, but you do have the extra protection of the layer of the walls. And we'll see if, like I said, the extra farming speed and then those composite bowmen can work out for KT. Again, can be quite vulnerable to catapults in the Bronze Age. But again, I guess Siege is a little bit harder to coordinate in team games just because you've got two players to try and look out for, trying to snipe your Siege all the time. I mean, let's not be having too much of a dig nightmare. Welcome to the stream and thank you for coming here, but let's not... Obviously there are things you can do better, but there are nicer ways of saying things. Looks like, yeah, no jackpot berries. I've said like a million times on Citadels, so hopefully I'm not boring you, but you do have the extra berries out the front. And again, normally close to TC berries, and then you take the second just to try and grab those before the melee begins, and then hide away in the back and try and get those more protected berries. KT's berries a little bit far forward there, so it might be a little bit unfortunate if some sort of ranged unit comes prying around. I suspect it's probably going to be chariot archers from Genie as his unit to complement the Greek hoplites. That will give him a good answer to if either of the players go priest to try and convert those hoplites. Actually, Karth may go. CooL might just go for hoplites of his own, actually, because obviously the Carthaginian hoplite is actually stronger 1 versus 1 than the Greek hoplite. Obviously, the Greek one's cheaper, so it'll be interesting to see. We might see, yeah, like I said, a lot of academy units hitting the field, and yeah, Genie just going for those outside berries as his second, saving those ones for later. And seems like KT's putting his initial barracks out the front, and also taking his extra berries there. Does he have the resources? He does have, yes, for a granary. It's going up now. And let's have a look. Tool Age already coming in for Genie. He is on 21 vils, so a little bit quicker. You can see all the other players have got 23 villagers out. Tool Age is coming in for all the players now, though. I think Genie will be the first, but he's not actually that far ahead of Saymyname, I don't think. But yeah, Genie is going to be the first, but he's 2 villages behind every other player. Presumably, this is just going to be a whole bunch of fast bronzes. Although that said, Genie... Okay, archery range... Does he have the wood? I'm trying to see if I've missed the other building. It's usually archer range and a market. Yeah, okay, there we go. So yeah, like I said, probably chariot archer will be the unit of choice for Genie, and CooL is the last to hit the tool age. And you can see Saymyname already has more than enough food, just waiting for that market to finish, and he clicks up. CooL, I think, just waiting for his buildings to go up as well. And he will click. A little bit of a moment before he actually did click that. KT a little bit short on food, a little bit heavy on wood. So not the cleanest fast bronze from KT here. But all the other, yeah, Bronze Age has been clicked by Genie as well now. KT's still not, oh no, there he goes, just click now. And 28 vils, so yeah, KT went for a few extra villages there, 24 and 25. And I think, was it CooL or Saymyname? Saymyname very slightly quicker to click that Bronze Age. Just a few scouting units out on the field, having a little look around, see what's going on. Clubman going to be a little bit annoying from KT. KT sending a bowman as well. Maybe you could try and punish these villagers here and try and push him off the berries early. Again, this villagers will be able to go back and just grab us from here. Although Genie's already on that. But yeah, Bronze Age is coming in for all the players. KT going to be going very likely for the improved bowman and then composite bowman. Although it doesn't look like he has the resources just yet, as he's not started training or researching. Oh, sorry, he's not even hit the Bronze Age yet, that's why. I was jumping the gun a little bit there. Wheel comes in. Extra TC for CooL. And yeah, the other Greek bonus of the faster working TCs going to start kicking in quite nicely as well. Like I said, I think we're probably going to see hoplites from both the Carthaginians and the Greeks here. I would expect at least. It looks like, yeah, CooL's just focusing on the eco side for the time being though. No real units. He made one cavalry unit just to try and be a little bit tricky. Genie sort of expanding the front of his base and just waiting for that wheel to come in, and he can start flooding out the... It's a little bit short for wood actually, so maybe not a flood of chariot archers, maybe a slow trickle of chariot archers. And like I said, KT now on the way to getting composite bowmen in, and has a few extra archery ranges already set up. The archery range is a little bit far at the back. Maybe it would have been nice to have a little bit closer to the front there. Doesn't matter too much, but it would be nice to just shorten that distance a little bit. A couple of camels coming out from Saymyname. Obviously, yeah, Karth gets the HP bonus on them and the free nobility as soon as you build the government centre as well. But yes, I wouldn't have thought that camels were the unit of choice for the long run. Maybe you just saw that cavalry unit from CooL and just wanted to cover that off. He's clicking cavalry as well now. Interesting choice. In 1v1s on this map, cavalry units and stable units in general aren't generally that good, just because your opponent's fully walled, so it's like you don't get to use your mobility as much. In 2v2s you do tend to get a little bit more of the open map brawling, so the mobility can help a little bit there. And in fact, CooL is actually building more cavalry, so in fact we're not going to see those hoplites just yet. We may do in the future. But no, it's actually just extra stables going up for CooL at the moment. And see how that continues. KT already up to 10 composite. Bowman 12 now. This unit, it's a little bit slow to tech into, but once you do have it, all the techs out, they are a fairly cheap unit. They're only 40 food and 20 gold, so it's quite easy to spam them at that point. Yeah, Genie needs to be a little bit careful that he doesn't lose his chariot archers. Doesn't have artisanship in yet for the +2 range. Hopefully he gets that somewhat soon. Yeah, KT already up to the maximum 10 range that you can get those Minoan compies up in the Bronze Age. And camels are going to be a little bit susceptible to the chariot archers, but generally speaking, compies match fairly well into chariot archers, just because again they're just a much cheaper unit, so they're usually quite a lot easier to mass. Saymyname hitting away at the gate there, and 10 cavalry units for CooL. Going to try and flank around, but those camels already in. I don't think they have many upgrades. He's got a +4 attack, but no armor in. A couple of cavalry units do go down. Actually, it's just kind of balanced out, really. +4 attack does come in now for CooL. Yeah, CooL, not the greatest of armies here. Like I said, he's been focusing mostly on the eco for the early Bronze Age. And like I said, I was questioning the camels, but they feel fairly decent at this point. Okay, he's going to pick off a villager there. Going to see the battle unfold here. I feel like if I was CooL, I'd probably send my cavalry straight into KT's bowman there. This looks like going to try and engage now. Another wave of camels joins in though. Yeah, try and take this fight, and if I was Genie, I'd be trying to pick off the camels. Try and just negate that bonus damage that had been done to CooL's cavalry. But yeah, the KT's bowman numbers have been cut down, but so have CooL's cavalry. And you can see CooL is pumping from a good number of stables now. 15 gold miners, not a huge amount of gold in the bank, and you can see that gold's right at the front there. So if he loses control of his base, he does have gold at the back, he could switch over there to a TC. Saymyname is diving through, that said though, and this is going to go pretty uncontested. Does have the +2 armor in as well now. Still fighting back and forth on the front here. Yeah, these camels just causing a lot of idle time in the back of the base. They're probably going to be able to, yeah, easily take out a villager, 2 villagers. Is GG suck game? Well, I think CooL was maybe a little bit too greedy, like I said, with his Bronze Age, and GG is called. So Katie and Saymyname do bring one back, but yeah, CooL, yeah, I think he only had like a maximum of maybe 9 cavalry was the most he had at one point, and only just got all the upgrades in now. And Saymyname going into those camels, and like I said, I was expecting the hoplites from CooL. I guess maybe he thought the hoplite wouldn't be so great into the Minoans there. Maybe that was the thought process. But yeah, I think CooL maybe just a little bit too greedy on the eco side in the early Bronze Age. You could see basically all of the other players were like, they were adding TCs, but they were like building army at the same time, whereas CooL didn't even build like a single cavalry unit until quite a little bit into the Bronze Age. And they were able to team together there to break through and get good push in down that bottom side of CooL's base. So it goes to game 3 as we're 1-1 now. So it's not going to be a one-sided series, that we know for certain. A little bit of back and forth. Third map is going to be inland. So for the first time, we've seen Minoans twice already. Will we see Minoans thrice for the third time? Potential some water this time. And looks like, let me load us in. Just restarting the capture ages because it keeps doing the sound bug. Is it going to load in? There we go. And what do we have here? And we do have the Minoans again. What are the chances of that? That's ridiculous. Saymyname on the Minoans. A very funky inland spawn this time. We do often get these side pools, but I feel like it's quite a long time since I've just seen the dividing a river on inland. There are quite a few crossing points. 1, 2, 3, just about 4. That one will be pretty easy to close off. But yeah, playing ways to get across, it's probably going to be pretty much impossible to like wall off all the crossings. But yeah, like I said, Saymyname. Somehow we've had Minoans 3 times in a row. So how much fish is in here? It's not a huge... Oh no, okay. There are... Yeah, it's not a massive amount, but there is some fish in here. And obviously there's the actual main river. And the Minoan bonus of the cheaper dock applies to his teammate as well, which is actually not here. His teammate's over here. So actually, interestingly, that river's actually dividing teammates from each other. Because Saymyname is here and his teammate Katie is up here and he is on the Chosen. So Katie on his favourite Civ. See if you can pull out any shenanigans. Towers, I'm sure, will be on the field fairly early into the game. CooL on the Egyptians. Obviously, like I say, in the last map, Egyptians much stronger on those closed maps with when they can get to their powerful chariot units. They're not terrible on open maps, just because they can get that nice cheaper farms to get that food eco transition. It's just against a lot of the stronger early game civs that's often a little bit too slow on the more open maps. But we don't have many early game civs other than Genie on the Lakviat, the very dangerous early game civ. Berry bonus and that faster producing military, just giving them a very, very strong early game. And Genie is wielding those on this map here. And already having a look around. I think he's just having a look around for elephants for the time being. Villager coming forward from CooL. Again, maybe just trying to find his elephant there, which he's going to spot now. Back-to-back berries there. That'd be quite nice if you could control that. single granary down on 1,500 berries worth of food there. Yeah, each of the players does have their own pool. Gotta say, CooL's pool and KT's pool look a lot more tasty than the ones on the south side, though again it's split between teams, so you could argue that team-wise it's balanced a little bit more. But yeah, like I said, it's quite interesting that the teammates are kind of divided from each other. Obviously, again, they have the crossings, but it means they can't just go back and forth wherever they like on the map. They are slightly limited. Looks like it is going to be Genie that's going to be the first to put down a dock. Again, benefiting from... Oh no, sorry. I keep thinking... I keep saying it, even though... yeah, I keep saying it loads of times. I've still managed to confuse myself. But CooL... I don't know if he spotted anything there. Yeah, I was about to say Genie is the Minoan team bonus, but obviously it's KT that has it, not Genie. Forward barracks coming down. Maybe KT has seen it. Again, I'm not 100% sure. Is he just pinging that CooL? I think, yeah, I don't think KT's aware here. And Villager was being sent forward from KT, but barracks right on his face. And a couple of villagers coming from it from Saymyname. Are we anywhere near the tool age? We're halfway up. Let's have a look. KT's already basically there though. So I think KT should... I mean, if we make some military units, going double barracks, but he's not making any units yet. This is going to give him a little bit of leeway before CooL can get the Axa in. Yeah, Club has only just clicked now. But yeah, KT's going to be able to get Axa in way before CooL does. Saymyname going to be the second up. So Genie and CooL a little bit slow. It's going stable again straight away. Saymyname does do this quite a lot. He likes to go for that early stable. Try and pump some scouts. If you don't wall, you've not got yourself properly closed in, the scouts can be very deadly in the early game. And obviously the scouts a little bit cheaper since the last community patch update. And oh, Genie going for the distant walls. He must have seen the house now. But yeah, unfortunately for him, Saymyname is already inside. And Doc going down as well. And this early scout's already got both the pit upgrades in. And I think this villager is not long for this world, unfortunately. Can maybe get needlework in. He's still making villagers. But yeah, Genie again a little bit sloppy in the early tool age, similar to the first game in this series. Just going to lose a couple of vills there. And KT has managed to get some semblance of a defense. He is open up here. No micro on that bowman means it does get caught out by the axes. Should be able to gathering point on the inside for future bows though. I think KT is going to have some idle time forced. He loses villager as well. I was going to say I think he should be able to hold the position. It's looking a little bit dicey. Again, maybe... Yeah, with needlework you can definitely fight off a single axeman. Maybe KT getting a little bit distracted by his own forward push. But yeah, KT definitely can jump out from this. He's wasting village time a little bit. I guess, there we go, beats down that Axa there. Maybe just feeling a little bit under pressure at the moment. Being forced off the last of his berries. Only 61 food left in that. But meanwhile, Saymyname has been very cheeky. Yeah, 4 eco kills between these two scouts. He's got 5 scouts on the field as well. And yeah, unfortunately Genie went a little bit too distant with the walls and didn't notice the forward in time. Yeah, Saymyname has actually set himself quite nicely up in the water. Although Genie has also had quite a nice fishing eco going all this time as well. So it's not in too bad of a position. You can see actually 33 on the eco count at the top there. Slightly ahead of Saymyname. Genie does have a good mass of axes on the field now, which obviously can be a good unit to try and deal with the scouts so you can get into combat. But yeah, a few scouts still being pesky. And Needlework is now in now, so a handful of villagers can fight a couple of scouts with those upgrades in, and Genie does turn around finally. Lost that one villager though. Saymyname being good at just going for the hit and run attacks. And Genie getting a little bit manhandled here. These scouts getting in good damage. Looks like CooL is still all over KT though. And it feels like KT, yeah, because KT doesn't, yeah, KT's not got himself set up on the water. So I was going to say, I think Genie, you can see in the score, isn't suffering quite as much just because he has that eco, extra eco as part of his empire. Whereas KT still has a bunch of idle villagers in his TC and looks to be struggling a little bit now. So again, whilst Genie is maybe a bit on the back foot, he's definitely in a much stronger position than KT is on the other side. CooL has got himself, actually walled himself into the sort of core of the map for most of his eco. Does have the zebra at the front here. Maybe a little bit of a counter attack from CooL, come over the crossing. But Saymyname has actually got a couple of towers already set up. This feels a little bit overkill on the stone here. Maybe wants to just get another couple of towers in to form a little bit more of a defensive line. A little bit of battle going on here. Looks like a few units are being lost. Just get rid of this so we can see the unit numbers a little bit better. But yeah, Genie having a few of his axes picked off by the bowman from Saymyname there. And still these scouts in the back. Doesn't quite get the kill there actually. Still been a massive nuisance. Looks like KT has more or less managed to get himself defended. It is still open around the back here. I don't know if KT's seen that. Maybe that's where he's sending the Axa. Have a little explore around, but we'll go back to see what's going on in the battle here. A few slingers out on the field for Genie now. Obviously try and deal with the bowman. No stone mining in just yet. Means the slingers are out quite a bit outranged by the bowman at the moment. But pretty back and forth fight. You can see Saymyname just trying to micro around the scouts, make the fight as awkward as possible for Genie. And scouts, yeah, going to be able to probably mop up here. Bronze Age coming in for Genie though. Like I said, he's had that fishing eco at the back, working for him nicely. And I'm pretty sure the Vietnamese get camel, but I don't think he has any stables. Oh, they get cavalry as well. Would have been nice to just mop up the tool age units, but he doesn't really have an instant option to go for here to try and dig him out of this situation. Maybe even going short sword here, just to add in a few of those, just because that's the best unit you have access to straight away when you don't have the stable. Villagers trying to turn on the scouts, but yet no attack stance for the villagers. Means he's going to lose, unfortunately, a couple more to the scout. Still more damage going in. It's a little bit of fight going on at the base over here, but I think this is where the main action seems to be going on. And a few more villagers definitely going to go down here. And yeah, Genie's still making bowmen despite being in the Bronze Age. Like I said, well, I mean, the bowman here would probably actually deal reasonably well with the short swords. They actually do 2 bonus damage to short swords as well, so maybe it wouldn't be a good call. But yeah, like I said, if you could have just snuck a stable up somewhere just to get some cavalry on the field to try and deal with these Bronze Age units. And yeah, Genie just get absolutely slaughtered now. Committed that 800 food to get into the Bronze Age. And the only real advantage he's got is being able to research fishing ship. And that pool is running out of water. Villagers are forced to run here. And like I said, he didn't even get on the gold. Wheel is only just coming in now. A few bowmen going to hold the base, but scouts are going searching for villagers. Saymyname does find them here. Let's see what's CooL's doing on the other side. 21 bowmen for CooL. Where are all these bowmen? There's a few scattered here, there, and everywhere. Looks like CooL maybe trying and save his ally here. He's trying to get this granny up. I think these villagers. Is he going to get away with this? The bowman in hot pursuit. CooL is in the Bronze Age now as well. Genie's down to only 10 vills, and like I said, those fishing ships are going to be idle soon. There's only 300 food left in that pond, so almost Genie's effectively down to only 10 eco. But like I said, him and CooL both in the Bronze Age. Scout ship actually going to be able to fend off the units here. Saymyname in Bronze Age now as well, though. And also Saymyname laying claim. It's just a little pond. And looks like Genie is going to manage to just about keep on going. Oh, he's going to maybe lose another couple of villagers here. Wheel in now, though. And those villagers are going to be able to outrun that man on a horse somehow. That's just what we'll do. But yeah, I think the last of the Tool Age army should be able to be mopped up by Genie now, but Saymyname has got himself into quite a nice position here, as the Minoans as well. He's been able to get out that early game pressure, which not very usual for the Minoans. Like I said, they're much more of a later game civ on the more land maps. Obviously there are little pools and stuff, but I guess Saymyname has built some fishing ships and stuff, so he's been benefiting from that little bonus a bit there. But it's not been massively water focused, just because his opponent is across the land from him. But I think CooL potentially going for some sort of push. He's definitely committed more to building army in the Bronze Age straight away this time. And those Egyptian chariot archers going to be quite a nuisance. Interestingly, Saymyname sticking with the cavalry units for the time being. Guess he did already have the upgrades for those in. Katie calling for help. There, the chariot archers coming forward. Katie, the only player still left in the Bronze Age. Tool Age. Bronze Age is coming in soon, though. But yeah, not really any. I mean, I guess scouts actually can deal reasonably well with chariot archers if the chariot archer mass isn't too high. But obviously, Katie is 4 barracks and 0, I think, stables. At least none that I can see. Fight's kind of kicking off all over the place at the moment, and Genie is managing to sort of get his eco back up and running. He's deleted a whole bunch of those fishing ships, and only 30 odd fish left. Saymyname trying to chew through the wall. Katie already teching into the broadswordsman as chosen. Getting that HP bonus. So just a little itch of the ear. Sort myself out there. Ooh, there's a few units. Oh god. Saymyname taking huge losses there on the eco. Does sneak some villagers into the TC, but quite a few villagers went down there. Yeah, the watchtower not really that effective against chariot archers. The sentry tower can be quite nice just because it's got that higher damage and higher range. But only the 5 damage when it only shoots. Ooh, a couple of more villagers as well. Saymyname probably going to have to bring back the cavalry, but he's focusing trying to do damage to Genie still. But this is leaving him wide open to CooL. And GG is called. And wow. What a back and forth game that was. I guess, like I said, KT just got a little bit too far behind, and CooL was almost untouched and was able to sort of help Genie out a little bit. And like I said, Genie's that pool kept him in the game there. Maybe the Bronze Age was a little bit too soon from Genie, just because he wasn't really able to use that as soon as he got there. In fact, he like nearly lost everything as soon as he got there, but managed to cling on. CooL came kind of to the rescue there. KT wasn't really posing a threat, and Saymyname, like I said, had the towers at home, but the Chariot Archers, the 9 range to, I think it's only, I was going to say 7, but he does have a +2 from Artisanship in already. But yeah, without the Sentry Tower in or any walls or anything, those Chariot Archers just be able to dive around, pick off villagers here and there. And like I said, I think Saymyname didn't notice that, as I didn't either when that raid came in. When was the moment that we missed? Yeah, the Chariot Archers coming over now. But yeah, CooL tried to push through here and thought maybe we'll have a look and see what's going on over here. And it's the 10 Chariot Archers that came over. And these are the Egyptian ones as well, so they're even more tanky when it comes to resisting that watchtower fire. But yeah, KT had only just hit the Bronze Age at this point. And yeah, Saymyname instantly lost 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 villagers, 7, 6 villagers, and then he only noticed at that point there. But then a few more villagers here. The Wheel-In did actually manage to get away, but yeah, a little bit of bad pathing by those gold miners. And Saymyname was only just sort of setting himself up in the Bronze Age. I guess, yeah, his stable was forward, so he wasn't really able to bring his army back. Because yeah, he has like those cavalry units, but they're all in Genie's base, more or less. There's a couple here. Yeah, the next wave of CooL's army pushed those back. CooL was actually also on the water with war galleys there. I hadn't actually noticed that. But yeah, that was a very, like I said, unusual inland spawn with the addition of this. It basically split the game into 2 1v1s. And like I said, KT not doing quite as well as Genie did in the 1v1, just because, again, Genie just had himself set up with the water nice and early. KT only got to do that much later. So yeah, quite an interesting game there. But 2-1 to CooL and Genie as we get ourselves into game 4. And so, series point for CooL and Genie as well, as we go to Highland as the next map. Obviously best of 5. But yeah, our familiar Highland map. Let's just load us in real quick. Do we see the Minoans again? We do not see the Minoans again. Actually, quite some interesting civs here. Some lesser seen civilizations, with the Babylonians coming out for Saymyname. Obviously it's random, but we've not randomly seen Babylonians much. His teammate KT is going to be on the Palmyrans, with their always slightly unusual start. We'll see how KT wields the Palmyrans here. And Genie is saying he's going for the elephants mid, I guess, and Genie is the Egyptians himself this time. And CooL is the Hittites. So both CooL and Genie, sort of the chariot civs. And obviously I think I prefer the Hittite chariot archer. If you had the choice, well, yeah, between these two civs, I think I'd rather have the Hittites on the chariot archer. So maybe the Egyptians could just go for stable units, maybe just camels or just their own chariot. to provide a bit more of a front line for those if we reach the Bronze Age. Babylonians have that +1 pierce armor on their chariots. It's quite a handy bonus against the Hittites in the Bronze Age, basically cancels out their bonus. Palmyrans can basically go for any unit really in the Bronze Age. Can just try and utilize their eco advantage to just pump out more units. Just go for whatever unit they fancy here. So maybe we see, maybe KT just goes for cavalry this game. We'll see. But yeah, players just trying to grab some early elephants from the center of the map. Did Genie actually get any elephant in the end? It looks like he must have done. In fact, it looks like he got 2. Did he get 2? I've not been paying full attention, but there's an elephant here and here, which I believe are his, so I think those other 2 are from the center of the map. And he's just shunting those gazelle towards the wood line there, probably with prospects of building a storage pit right here, I'd imagine. Has that blocked the site? Squeeze it in here. Maybe he doesn't have the wood just yet. Yeah, not quite, it's a little bit short. And CooL and KT a little bit behind. Oh, KT to make sense because he's Palmyrans, but I'm just a little bit surprised CooL slightly behind with a bit more idle TC time. Obviously, Hittites don't have any sort of early game bonus, so maybe just didn't quite get the food coming in right at the very start of the game. And are we going to see any quick up times? Looks like KT has clicked up on 16 vills. Other players going for more usual 20. CooL currently has an extra 4 villagers in queue. Got to imagine that he's going to cancel a couple of those. Yeah, if he cancels 2 of them, he can click up after this. So unless he's going to go for some sort of fast bronze, he is housed now. Okay, cancels the villagers and clicks up. Oh, he doesn't have the. Oh, sorry, I was looking at the Egyptian. I was looking at the wrong food there. CooL, a little bit short on food. I think that probably means he's going to be the last to the tool age. Yeah, looks to be the case. Yeah, Katie's basically already there. No forward shenanigans from Katie. Actually, looks like it's Genie who's going to be the one that's playing aggressively. Though that said, Saymyname. Ooh, I don't know if Genie spotted that, but Saymyname definitely did and pulled back and is now putting up the barracks. Genie putting up the barracks. So who is going to be the faster up? I think maybe Saymyname. Yeah, only very slightly though. So both of these early forwards probably going to come in more or less the same time. KT already just going for a defensive setup. Yeah, it's the Palmyrans, especially because, like I said, he's got the 10% handicap with the Palmyrans as well. So he's basically got 25% villager bonus plus a 10, well, multiplied by 10% for the handicap as well. So his eco is going to be absolutely flying if he can get himself walled up and nicely defended. And barracks going, oops, looks like Genie's slightly off the mark here. His opponent's slightly closer than he expected him to be, and that means the first attack is going to be in. But I say my name is only 1 Axer. 1 villager does go down though. Needlework has come in pretty quickly this time though. But yeah, Genie needs to be not too scared. When you've got that needle working in, it's very easy to take down single axes. And Genie's felt forced to delete. I feel like this feels like a little bit of lack of practice under having needlework, and he's actually going to lose all his villagers now. So this is pretty catastrophic for Genie. And CooL, like his opponent's just been playing defensively. He's only got the single bowman out now. But Brio is for the rush. I mean, I think the rush is going alright. The problem is he is maybe Saymayname's rushed a little bit better, but yeah, he didn't. Yeah, he did slightly missed his opponent, and obviously Saymyname saw his opponent straight away. Katie coming in with a couple of his units just to add insult to injury. CooL is already fully walled in, but again, he just basically has zero military presence. CooL kind of feels like that's his normal approach to 1v1 games, is he likes to play from a defensive position and just build up an eco behind that. Unfortunately, that means his teammates a little bit hung out to dry. That's Saymyname, one of the best players in AoE1 for punishing people in the early game. There was a nice little pick off by Genie there, but unfortunately, but yeah, these villagers are going to be forced to come out. Yes, another villager goes down. But I think it's 25% HP. The villagers will be forced to pop out. About now. Maybe it's 20% actually. There they go. All these villagers are dead. Has a couple of villagers out on the field, but yeah, only 8 villagers left. Like I said, I feel like Genie maybe could have... It's possible he was just focusing on the forward, like he has taken out a few houses here. But you can see it's only 2 actual kills from red team here, which means Genie hasn't really done much with this push. And House is going to go up. We're actually going to trap the axis here, so these bowmen probably going to be able to clear up now. A little bit sloppy from Saymyname, but steady away. Hiding under the tower, trying to keep this bowman alive. There we go, clearing up Genie's forward, and Genie has actually found some villagers on the berries here, which is not too bad. So he is going to be able to do some more damage. KT running around with scouts, and CooL has got a decent number of those bowmen now, but again mostly just in a defensive position. Genie hitting himself next to his ally there. You gotta think at this point though that Katie's already clicking up to bronze, and KT is just going to have an absolutely huge advantage in this game. Essentially untouched as the Palmyrans here, and again he has that 10% extra handicap, and he's just going to have... I'm going to have a look at the stats. In fact, his eco is probably going to be absolutely miles ahead of everyone else's. Like even CooL, who's been untouched, 1,000 resources behind already at this point. And no Bronze Age coming in for him just yet. So going to be in the Tool Age for some time. But yeah, I feel like a player of CooL's caliber should probably have been trying to look to punish a Palmyran. But maybe CooL doesn't really think about the civs, he just prefers to play his own style and then just stick to that regardless. He's going to manage to pick off a couple of vills here, but this tower is going to prevent too much more from happening. The Bronze Age is just about in. And CooL maybe on the way up now. No, he's still not on the way up. In fact, still short of food. And KT could just start. Ooh, for some reason we don't have Conquest on, so we're currently winning by ruins at the moment. KT going to lose probably another couple of vills here. Somehow, I have no idea how KT got away with that. Those bowmen need some target practice. I don't know what happened there. Sling is putting in a good defense though. Wheel coming in. Bronze Age still not clicked. Saymyname anywhere near the bronze? No. Just KT for the time being. And Genie is up to 15 vils now, setting up the farm eco. And he is Egyptians, which is working a little bit in his favour. Again, curiously, that domestication coming at this point. CooL's done that several times. It's a little bit of confusing use of resources to me. Obviously, it's not a hugely expensive upgrade, but like I said, this upgrade's basically doing nothing at this point. You've just paid, I'm not sure exactly, about 250 resources total for basically nothing. He's already got all his farms set up. But anyway. Yep, those Bronze Age units coming in for KT. I'm a little bit surprised he's going for camels already at this point. Like, neither his opponents are in Bronze Age. There's not really much use for the camel at this point. It's usually better to just have the extra damage and the extra pierce armor of the cavalry to just try and play more aggressively at this point. He's probably anticipating some form of chariot units from his opponent in the Bronze Age, but again, he's the only player actually even in the Bronze Age at this point. Now CooL is in the Bronze Age, and CooL is going to be going into those chariot archers as soon as he can. Hittites with a faster researching wheel. And KT already with the stone throw actually, that is quite a nice follow-up. I do like that. Not a huge fan of the camels, but I am a huge fan of the stone thrower to try and knock down these walls as quick as possible. Let's have a look what CooL's got plenty of resources to start spamming chariot archers though. 5 archery ranges. Is KT going to be able to get enough damage done quick enough? And here again, I've got to question the camels. Why are we not bringing the cavalry out? Ah, get rid of the slingers, KT! You're slowing your cavalry down. But yeah, CooL. Quick defenses, just trying to keep the cavalry round out for as long as possible. Wall gets broken. Another line of defense goes down. First wave of chariots comes out. Chariot archers, I should say. And again, this is where camels just take more damage. And my bad, sorry. It's called by Genie. Like I said, it's a little bit unfortunate with that tool age push not coming off. And then, like I said, maybe not the best response. But Saymyname in the Bronze Age now. KT pushing forward with double catapults now. And I feel like it's only a matter of time until he breaks through. But at this point now, the chariot archer numbers are up to 14. Picking off a few cavalry units. Oh, that was actually quite a nice hit on the chariots. I think KT managed to catch CooL a little bit off guard there by attacking the chariot archers instead of the wall there. So now the wall is open. Cavalry units will come in. Oh, big hits from the catapults here. This is very nice from KT. May have killed one of his own cavalry there, but other than that, pretty good effort. And very nice, there we go. And that was all before the Saymyname came through. So obviously, in the long term, Genie probably wasn't going to be able to do much there, but KT's push was still pretty solid there. Again, I would have preferred it if you kept the cavalry unit just for a little bit longer. And then if you felt the need to switch to camel later, then that'd be fine. In the end, though, that's, like I said, that very nice forward siege workshop and those catapults out straight away. And CooL couldn't actually hold the position there. And like I said, that was before Saymyname even came in. Again, though, possibly a mistake by CooL for not trying to punish KT for being on the Palmyrans. Let's have a look at the total resources. Actually, wasn't too far behind in the end. I guess maybe because KT was just focusing on I guess 1 TC all in push in the bronze, whereas again CooL just trying to go for the eco approach. And like I said, maybe you could argue that CooL needs to try and be a little bit more flexible depending on what the civs were being played. But now that's 2-all, and that's going to bring us to the final game 5. hopefully Genie has a bit of a better game this time. Like I said, unfortunately his forward just didn't quite find the mark, and Saymyname was right on top of his face. And looks like Hill Country is the last map, so fairly similar to Highland, which is a little bit of a shame. Would have liked to see the Mega Random come out for the last map. But here we go. Game 5. I pressed the wrong button there. And we have seen that, so we've had the Minoans 4 out of 5 games this series. That is crazy. But CooL is going to be wielding the Minoans this time. I can't remember if it's CooL. I think, has it literally been every player's played Minoans now? That'd be absolutely ridiculous if it was that case. But anyway, sorry, getting a little bit distracted by the Minoans. Assyrians for Genie. Not one of my favourite civs, as we all know. But that's what Genie's ended up with. Yamato for KT, and Yamato a very nice team game civ just because their team bonus is so incredibly strong. The cheaper stables and archery ranges for all team members, including themselves. And the Macedonians for Saymyname. And I expect Saymayname's probably just going to try and do what he's been doing most of the series. Barracks forward, followed by immediate stable. His closest opponent is CooL this time though, whereas the last few games it's been Genie. We'll see how CooL responds to that early pressure. Genie just pushing in his Gazelle. That little accidental kill on that Gazelle there. A little bit far away from the TC. He's already pulled in 1 elephant as well. Plenty of elephants in the centre of this map. Absolutely loads of elephants, in fact. For anyone willing to venture out and claim them. Yeah, I think Yamato is probably the power civ in this position for the early phases of the map, for sure at least. Obviously the Minoans, like I've been saying in some of the other games, do get much stronger once you get into that Bronze Age and your farming eco is set up and you've had the chance to check into the composite bowman. Until that time though, you're a little bit vulnerable. Assyrians, similar case as well. You kind of need to get to the Bronze Age to get those chariot archers working for you. Do you get the faster firing bowman in the early age, in the tool age I should say, which I guess is maybe a little bit stronger a bonus in team games because you don't tend to see as many slingers in team games just because the games are a little bit more hectic. But slinger's still a pretty good option against the Assyrians nonetheless. And we see a villager coming forward. Looks like Genie a little bit behind on Vil production, which implies slightly more idle TC. You can see team idle TC down here, but obviously can't see it for each player. It's the teams together. But yeah, you can see a 31 seconds, only 7 seconds for the opposing team. It's quite nice from them. Saymyname, I think, is going to be more or less right on the money once again. Although he's not committing to placing down the barracks just yet, which implies to me he doesn't have the wood, which is indeed the case. In fact, he's only just clicked Tool Age now. And KT is up, and so is Genie, and now CooL a little bit behind is CooL. So I think Saymyname is going to be the first up. Actually, no, sorry, KT is going to be the first up, but then Saymyname quickly afterwards. So the left side team, a little bit of advantage. Still no... Has the barracks gone up at home? Do we not have enough... Oh, we do have enough wood now. And more than enough wood. Don't know what's going on here. Barracks finally going down now. I guess still only 60% of the way up, but normally I think you'd like the barracks to be up at this point, and then you could have made a couple of clubbers already at this point. Again, I suspect this will just be single barracks, single stable, just because that's what Saymyname has been doing so far this series, and it's worked out quite well for him. Again though, his opponent this time is CooL, who has got his barracks down. He's not making any military units. Yeah, it looks like Saymyname just waiting and down. Oh, archery range, okay, so he's mixed it up a little bit. Macedonians do have their team bonus is, since changing the community patch, is the faster working archery range. So cheaper archery range because of his Yamato ally, and faster training as well. So a little bit of a switch up. Oh, interesting. That CooL is going for stable. Maybe he just wants to have a little bit more control over the map. Maybe trying to help his ally a little bit more now, get that extra mobility in. Close walls is going to prevent the axes, well, clubbers soon to be axes, from getting too much damage in. Quick walls again on the berries, but the follow-up of the bows. But yeah, scout already out in the field though. The one axer is already in position. Tried to attempt to hit quick walls from Saymyname there. Didn't quite work out in his favour. Probably will just cancel those houses. Didn't quite work out for him on that front. And CooL, I was going to say, it looks like he's tried to push out a little bit. And Saymyname has just gone for the tower on his wood line, which is his usual run of defence. Barracks has been put up though, feels a little bit under pressure. Gives him the option of building those defensive axemen to try and deal with forward scouts. KT has got some scouts out in the field himself, but I'm not sure if that was the forward villager KT lost that. You can see a little bit of back and forth on the KD. Saymyname still got a pretty solid push going. Where did that villager go? It looks like he got picked off by a scout there. I expect that to be one eco kill, and indeed it is. But KT coming over to have a little sniff around, see if he can find a weakness. And a couple of axes have been built at home, so that's very good play for Saymyname to be ready for that. I've seen like a lot of players aren't willing to do this. They don't want to waste the resources picking up an extra military building when there's pushes ahead. But a lot of times it's just worth it to take that hit and just say, right, I just need to be safe at home. So it's, yeah, very heads up play. Saymyname here. Got a sort of two-pronged attack. I mean, I say two-pronged, there's only a couple of scouts out from KT. Looks like he's building up a massive ranged unit, so maybe that's just for defense. Genie looks like he's coming to attempt to help out, but I think he's bitten off a little more than he can chew there. And I think these scouts are probably going to need to come back, help out. They're not saying that said, they're a little bit low health. Maybe it is just better to try and cause as much idle TC time as possible. You see Saymyname pretty quick to duck in the TC. They're paying attention well. KT does lose those scouts. CooL maybe hoping for a little bit more assistance from Genie here. Some bowmen are coming over now. But again, CooL went for the attacking play when possibly he should have thought about trying to defend at home a little bit more. Going into the bowmen since then. But Saymyname just has a good mass of units, and I think Saymyname can still win the fight against both his opponents here. And KT not really having to do with too much, and Saymyname just really putting his foot down. It's in a really strong position here. And whilst Genie and CooL were 2-1 up after game 3, this is already starting to look like KT and Saymyname. GG already being called. There's CooL really in a position. He just doesn't have enough. Well, he just doesn't have the units on the field. Like I said, Genie trying to drip feed reinforcements, but I think KT is going to cut this off here. So this is KT's big play of the game. He's He's going to cut off the reinforcements. And I think that's going to leave a couple of villagers going down as well as the bowman. CooL down to 16 villagers. Saymyname has just been on 19 vills basically this whole time by the looks of it. I think he maybe lost one villager. He lost that forward villager, didn't he? And just been putting his foot down ever since. GG is called, and that's the 3-2 to KT and Saymyname. And like KT, I mean, like I said, CooL was sort of exclaiming in the chat there, but for the most part, there was only KT with 2 scouts for the most part. It was just Saymyname just beating CooL in the 1v1 there. Maybe Genie possibly could have got a few more units over a little bit earlier than he did do, or maybe put a bit more pressure on KT. But I think here they just, well, I guess one factor is the Minoans and Assyrians just not very good civs in the early game doesn't help. Like I said, the Yamato team bonus just absolutely ridiculous. I think it's probably the most powerful team bonus in the game. And Saymyname, like I said, switching it up a little bit. I expected the stable, but I like the use of the archery rangers instead. And it was, like I said, it was weird from CooL because he built that stable straight away. So he had those scouts to deal with the early archers, and he could have just gone AXA to AXA and then just run around picking off bowmen. He tried to get a bit of counter damage in. I don't know if he actually even did kill a villager, but he just didn't really deal with that forward pressure. So maybe you could argue CooL could have played that better. Like I said, he had a few choice words for Genie throughout the series, but well played to all 4 players at the end of the day. KT fairly chilled in this game, but like I said, this play to like cut off the reinforcements of it from Genie basically was the final nail in the coffin. So nice little play from him to just kind of finish this game off. And yeah, that brings us to 3-2 in the series.